Hi, y'all. I'm Takara. This is my husband, Kylan. And we're here with another episode of Mutual Intentional Love. And so, on our last episode, we talked about communication. Today's episode, we'd like to talk about trust. And also, in the last episode, we mentioned how honesty is absolutely a priority. And I would say honesty is the biggest part of trust.
Very well said, wife.
Yeah. How do you think that you felt you could trust me?
Yeah, that was a big thing for me because, I wouldn't say that I am the most fully trusting individual. I will always give you an opportunity. However, I very much so am a realist, slightly borderline pessimist in some ways, to where I am not going to wholly or entirely trust you from jump. I never really give anyone that opportunity because that is a way in which you can set yourself up to be hurt. And I had built up my defenses in such a way to where I was extremely guarded. And I had reached a point where I had told myself I was never going to be put in a situation where I would not be fully and entirely in control of how much of myself I would allow myself to give to another person, to allow them the opportunity to hurt me. And with all of that work, creating barriers and all of that, um, walling myself up and off to a certain extent, I would still be like, friendly and entreating to new individuals I would meet, but always at a certain distance. Like you weren't gonna get put so close to me because that was just the easiest way for me to maintain a sense of control of a situation, to where there had been situations prior to where I was not in control of those situations and I did end up getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not so much looking forward to giving that opportunity to anyone else. So with all that being said, all that work that I did to protect myself and keep myself in the best possible situations was meaningless and not even necessary because my wife appeared and she brought all of my defenses down in the most beautiful of ways. I was able to truly be free to love her and feel safe enough to give my everything to another individual because there was a feeling of, as I said and always say, coming home when I met her, and it was the most comforting feeling you can feel from another individual, to where it's like I can finally relax.
Yeah.
I can take a breath. I can take my armor off. I can sit down. I can lay down. I can be fully and completely me. I can just be free to be loved.
Yeah.
My entirety. And that was just such and is a beautiful thing.
I guess it goes back to what we said in the last episode with it's so hard to explain.
It is so hard to explain.
And I feel like on one hand it's obviously amazing, but on the other it's really unfortunate because I want to be able to explain,
Explain it to
to help
someone else
people.
how they can achieve what we have.
Yeah.
Well, in that sense, there is one thing I can say. The honesty aspect of it in the communication. That was a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
To where we've been able to have any and every type of conversation possible.
Yeah.
There is nothing that you don't know about me. There's
Yeah.
nothing that I don't know about you. So there's never a situation that could arise where anybody could say anything to me or anybody could say anything to her about either of us that
Right.
we aren't already aware of.
Right. Yeah. That is big.
It is big.
Yeah.
There are no surprises that can pop up, which happens in relationships. There are things that come along in life. It's like, well, you may not necessarily want to hear this, so I didn't tell you, and
Right.
now here we are in this situation where it would have been good to know this
Right.
from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, day one, we were completely honest with each other.
Yeah.
We told each other everything because
Everything.
we were moving forward with a mutual intentionality. We knew what we wanted from each other. We knew where we wanted it to go. We knew the end goal was marriage,
Yes.
was a life partner, was a life together.
Yes.
We wanted to have a completely equal footing and foundation with each other.
Yes.
To where there are no surprises. There's nothing that can rock our foundation.
Right.
Because we built it upon honesty. Mm-hmm. We built it upon truth. Everything was shared.
Everything, which is really uncomfortable sometimes. Like, it's like sometimes it's like, okay, why would you want to know this?
Yeah,
like,
there definitely are some
I don't
moments.
even know how to express this to you or talk about this, or what do you even need to know this for? That was way back then. I'm not even the same person.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah.
It is big, and that does help build trust.
Absolutely.
If you know that somebody is sharing stuff that just they'd rather not share.
Absolutely.
Then it's gonna make you feel like you can trust that person.
Yeah. Having that level of comfortability and vulnerability with one another is a very rare and beautiful thing that is beneficial. If you can have that level of honesty, you have to reach that point, you do have to accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
Everything that you have been to reach the person that you are in this current day. Because if you don't, you're not going to be willing to share it with anyone else.
Yeah.
If you can't even come to terms with everything that you've done in your life leading up to the moment, and you aren't comfortable enough within yourself and who you are, you wouldn't be willing to share these things necessarily. Yeah. And I feel like that really speaks to the growth that both of us have had throughout life, to reach the point where we were comfortable enough to be honest fully with each other about who we are, who we have been, everything we've done in our lives.
Yeah.
To reach that point.
That is a good point. You
and
have
also,
to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. I would say to your earlier point, it's like we said before, that it's not some things you wouldn't want to share because I'm not even the same person. It's like I said, when you enter someone's life and you are marrying that person, you are becoming one. And you're accepting not only your spouse, you are accepting every version of your spouse, everything your spouse has ever been, and everyone your spouse has ever been connected to, you are now connected to.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know how to navigate that. You need to be willing to accept that and really own it.
Yeah.
Because that within itself can cause issues. There could be, oh, well, I didn't know such and such happened with so and so.
Mm-hmm.
That can never be a situation with us because
right.
we're aware. from the beginning, from day one, we were both aware of everything.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there was a more gradual process. Yes, we knew what we needed to know from the beginning to enter into those conversations, to have the foundation to where we will be willing to share more, to where we reach that level of depth. Because, we didn't just jump straight in the deep end. I just met you. Here's my entire life story and most intimate details. Like, I don't want to give that perception, although it was very close to that.
Yeah.
In our own way, which was very
Accelerated.
very accelerated.
Yeah.
We did take our time with everything, had its own natural flow to it.
Right, because I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
It's just that if telling it back to somebody like, oh well, how long have you been together?
Yeah, it
when
would
did you
seem
meet?
it would
It's
seem
just like,
very quick to
excuse
them
me?
for sure.
Right, yeah, but it
But
didn't.
everything
feels like
was
we've
a
known each
natural
other a
flow.
lifetime.
Yeah.
And it was easy to talk and eat,
For sure.
like, talk for hours upon hours upon hours,
Yeah.
and
Just vibing and catching back up.
that's technically only one day, but it just, I don't know, it just felt like so much more.
For sure.
Yeah. I think I lost track of what you were saying though, as far as the connector for the next connection of where to go from there. As far as, well, I know I was definitely thinking about me, like, but it's the same really, as far as like how I realized that I could trust you was again being able to have the conversations that we had, the way that you accepted the vulnerability that I shared with you, and again, as mentioned in the last episode, the reassurance that you would give. You made it easy to trust you, and consistent. Like, sometimes you talk to somebody in that beginning stage and it's like they just kind of disappear for a couple of days or something like that. Like, did not happen. I have talked to this man every single day since the moment I met him.
Yeah, man.
And
I love that.
And it wasn't me like having to bug him, like from day, I guess that would be 2, that he's like, hey, just checking in. Just checking in.
Yeah.
So
I knew about it.
Yeah. It was, I guess, I don't know, I just keep thinking about others, and I feel like what we have is rare. I wish that everybody could experience it, because it's a love that everybody deserves. And I would imagine hopes for, desires, like who wouldn't?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So yeah.
So I would say, for moving into our next portion of the conversation, would be the ways in which we trust one another, and actively, because we've told everyone about the start of it, how we began to trust one another, and how beautiful that was, how important that trust is.
Yeah.
But what are some of the ways in which we have actively given trust and consistently show trust in one another, such as with a big thing now, especially, is that I feel is beneficial for everyone, is trusting one another with social media. Being as big as it is now, being as important as it is in society as a whole, and how it can be a connector between people. So, how do we navigate that? How do you feel we navigate social media and trusting one another on social media?
Well, I mean, that's something. I think I have to get this thought out first, because it might be a little bit of a side
wait.
tangent.
Oh boy, here
just
she
because-
goes. Here she goes, y'all.
I mean, I don't know. It might be similar. I don't know, but
Oh, no,
I have to clear my mind of it.
Let her cook. She's about to cook something up. Go ahead.
Not exactly.
Go ahead,
It's
wife,
just
we're
it's just
listening.
ironic because literally on my drive-in to work the other day or somewhere, I don't because it doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. This is the part I'm trying to get to. On the radio, I heard them talking about. Oh, I remember now. I was dropping off our oldest daughter at school. So, but again, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
On the radio, they were saying, are you a cheater or are you a liar if you delete your messages?
What?
Like, and then
Yeah.
it was mainly like, yes.
Yeah.
If you delete all your messages, something's going on.
Absolutely.
You're either a cheater or you're a liar or you're both. You're
Yeah.
hiding something.
For sure. Because that's crazy.
Why are you
For
doing
what
that?
reason? And even if you aren't doing anything in the moment, it shows that you have. That's
Right.
a pattern, a learned behavior
Yeah.
that you cultivated to avoid an issue. Because there is no reason you should be doing that.
Yeah.
For what reason are you?
And so, to tie it back into your original question with social media,
Yeah.
I mean, you just had my phone the other day because of a post that, like you can, Instagram allows you to collaborate
Yeah.
a post. So you just went ahead and accepted. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something.
You were asleep.
And, I was
You were asleep at posting time.
Okay, well, I was sleeping. But that can't be because I asked you about it. I was like, did you already accept? So that's
You
obviously when I
asked
woke
me
up.
later.
Okay,
The post had been up for hours.
so, well, then maybe that's not the best example, but it does still apply.
Yeah.
Because my point is like, I have witnessed you, like I wasn't asleep. I've witnessed you take my phone and there's no like, oh shoot. Like there's like first of all, like,
Yeah.
we know each other's passwords.
Yeah.
There's no concern because we do trust each other. We're
Yeah.
not hiding anything from each other.
And the only thing I would add to that is that's also an example of simply living your life right.
Yeah.
Because not only does my wife know the passcode to my phone, our daughters know the passcodes to our phones.
Yeah.
So at any point, she can use the phone.
Yeah.
Either of our phones, it's nothing we need to be worried about. Oh, we wouldn't want our children to see this, or we wouldn't want our spouse to see this. It's not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that I think alone also shows trust. Like the fact that can continue
Yeah.
shows that we can trust each other. There's no hesitation, there's no worry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's really nice to have that.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of people out here, men and women alike,
Yes.
that are not trustworthy.
Right.
And it's just why?
Unfortunate. Yeah.
Why is that a necessary part of life?
I don't know, because honestly, like, I feel like a lot of times if you're doing things that, like, okay, so we wouldn't agree to do within our relationship, whatever that may be, if that's what you're doing, if you actually share that with whoever you're wanting to do that with, usually it's accepted. Like, the problem is getting caught and finding out, like, it's
deception.
Just, betrayal,
The
like
lies,
all that, like
deception, the
you
betrayal.
can do your dirt if you're honest about it. Like,
yeah, it wouldn't even necessarily be dirt. It's as simple as communicating.
Yeah, that's what you decide you want to do.
And a mutual understanding and agreement.
Right.
Can be reached if you simply communicate and express how you're feeling. You may not get the desired results you wanted, but at least you can sleep at night. Yeah. And everyone involved has the opportunity to decide how they feel about it.
Sadly, there's a lot of people that lie and have no problem sleeping at night.
I know, but you get the point for
Yeah,
the
I get
people.
it.
You don't have to be stuck in that moral quandary. You don't have
Right.
to feel like you have to balance everything, keep track of all your lies and deception. It's like that has to be tiring.
Right.
It has to
I
be
don't even know
tiring.
how.
It has to be exhausting, and it's ultimately at the end of the day unnecessary.
Completely.
Completely unnecessary. So
Like, I really do not understand. Like,
yeah,
there's no reason to lie.
yeah,
There's just not.
for sure.
Like, truly.
Yeah.
And that was something that, has been said, something we agreed upon.
Absolutely.
Another way of building trust. Like, when
Mhm.
you have the same outlook, same feelings,
Yeah,
it helps build trust.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah. How can somebody, if trust was broken,
That's
can
tough.
it? I
That's
didn't
tough.
even finish the question.
But I understand.
Can it be
where
restored? Like, can you build trust when it was already broken?
I will say there's levels to that. There's absolute levels to that.
Yeah.
And it varies from, it's again situational. Because depending on what it is that was done,
Yeah.
the severity of it, the extent of it, the duration of it. It's like what are you actually saying to me right now? What did you do? You did what?
Yeah.
Like, yo, and you expect me to do what with this information? And it just depends. It depends on one, the level of love within the relationship.
For
How
sure.
strong is the relationship to begin with that this is even occurring? And if it did occur, if it's just some one off slip up, or what was the intention behind the act that was the deception? What was your mindset going into it? Was it is something that you were intentionally doing? Was it premeditated? Was it spur of the moment? Was it a temporary weakness? Was
You'll
it
have questions.
one-sided? I have several questions. I always have questions.
Yeah.
Like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
It
And that would determine my response.
would take a lot of work.
It would take an absolute lot of work, and honestly,
If the opportunity is even given.
if the opportunity is given.
Yeah, because if you break trust, like,
Yeah.
you might have just broke it all.
That's it.
Period.
Done. And then there are people who will say like, "Oh my gosh, well, that's just so cold, so callous. How could you throw away everything just like that over just one little thing?" Well, I pose the same question to the perpetrator
Yes.
because that one act was the
Yeah.
equivalent.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So I feel like that is
Yeah.
a determining factor in how you can regain that trust, if you can regain that trust.
Yeah.
But I will say, for the less dramatic end of the spectrum, if it was a lesser offense, it could be something that could be restored. Trust could be gained back. I feel like, for me personally, that complete and total trust that was given initially will never be whole as it was again. I feel like there would always be a piece that would be held back. We can reach a place to where we're good. Where there's no animosity, where I can trust you with some things, but I will never again in this life trust you with everything. Like, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Depending on the level and severity of the hurt and the betrayal, like that's a big thing, especially when I've been nothing but good to you.
Yeah.
Nothing but good. You have done nothing to prompt whatever it is that you've decided to do, and you have broken that trust in some way.
Yeah.
Detrimental.
For sure.
Detrimental. Absolutely detrimental. And,
I'm a big component of bye.
yeah, for sure. For
'Cause
sure. Because
are
what
you
are we
kidding
doing
me?
here?
Right.
What are we doing
Like,
here? Clearly,
how
this is
could
not
you?
what you want.
Literally.
Clearly, this is
How
not
could
what you
you?
want. So
if it was that easy,
we can free ourselves up to
goodbye.
do exactly what it is you want it to do.
Yeah.
And I agree, for sure. That is another area in which we agree.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad we agree on that.
So
it's easy to trust each other.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because you know the repercussions if you don't.
Right. Actions
Like,
and consequences.
Actions and consequences.
Period.
Learn it.
Yeah. So what's it like for y'all? Were you slow to trust your partner? Did you have, because I think you already said, like, what did we actively do? Like, what did you actively do to trust, to build the trust? What other questions could we ask? Just, we want to hear from you. What is it like for you guys?
And another thing with that is boundaries. Creating and understanding what the boundaries are. What lines do we have? What lines are we not crossing?
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
You have to be clear with what are the parameters of the relationship. What can we do? What can we not do? What behavior is appropriate and what is inappropriate?
Right.
Like what are we doing here to the point where, such as with friendships, like we don't have any sort of qualms. She can be friends with whoever she wants to be friends with. I can be friends with whoever I want to be friends with. Now, it does help that majority of the time we're very similar. So usually our friends are mutual friends.
Yeah, right.
So that's never really an issue. But I do have a lot of friends that are females that I've been friends with before knowing you.
Right.
And I have continued on with those friendships because it's always been known within my relationship that these are my friends. There's never been any sort of inappropriate relationships.
Right.
And the conversations that we have are always on the up and up. And it's never anything that I've tried to hide.
Right.
And I've been more than open with sharing them. And we have communication with us. The level of our communication is, when we do have conversations with our friends, since we are the best friends, we can have those shared conversations. So you just know this. If you're talking to me, you are talking to my wife. My wife is me.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're talking to my wife, you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have any issues to where it's like, oh yeah, my friend said this. Oh really? No way. You kidding me? Like, all that exists with us. So we are very open with our communication.
Yeah, for sure.
That is an area of which encompasses our level of communication. We talk about our friendships. And we share.
Like, if a message, like, people pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And if that happens and we're not together, we always end up sharing.
For sure.
Like, we always end up talking about what's going on during our day.
Yeah.
And if that's a part of our day, then it gets talked about.
Yeah.
And you see, again, if it came to like, oh, can I use your phone for whatever? I already know.
Exactly.
Like, it's not be like, excuse me, who
is this?
What was this about?
It's already known.
It's already known.
It's already known. There are no surprises. And the removal of surprises makes life so peaceful.
Yeah.
So peaceful. The communication being on point creates peace.
Yeah. It does. And because I wanted to make sure I didn't come across like we actually go looking for it, because we don't, and we don't even have to.
No, this is never a thought.
Like, we're not really using each other's phone that often, but often enough that we have multiple examples somehow.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's the beauty of it. And I appreciate you, babe, for sure, for sure.
I appreciate you, wife.
I know you do. So, again, we want to hear from you. What is it? How is the trust in your relationship? How did you build it? And keep it strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. So we're going to catch you at the next episode. We hope that you have a very good day, night, evening. I don't know. What time? Tell us that, too.
Yeah.
How are you listening? Is it video, audio? What time of day? Like, fill us in. We want to know.
For sure.
But whatever's going on, we hope that it's going well for you. And we will see you next time.
Stay well and prosper, everybody.